Ahead in Indonesia now, violent street protests in Iran over a disputed presidential election. Indonesia sends its congratulations.
Candidates here face off directly in the first presidential debate. We'll tell you who scored the most points.
And when waiting for your taste of this Betawi egg treat, the Jakarta Fair is underway.
Selamat berjumpa. Welcome to Indonesia Now from Jakarta. I'm Frida Litwina.
Hello, I'm Dalton Tanonaka. Thank you very much for joining us. International concerns were high all week in the aftermath of Iran's presidential voting.
The re-election of incumbent Mahmoud Ahmadinejad sparked violent street protests, with opponents saying the election was stolen. Hundreds of thousands of supporters of Mir Hussein Musavi filled the streets of Tehran and other cities in Iran to protest the results that saw Ahmadinejad take 63% of the vote. Iranian officials say that 8 people were killed in the violence. Several opposition leaders were arrested, and international journalists were banned from covering mass public events. Indonesia's government sent its congratulations to its political ally. Indonesia Now's Yos Kusuma reports on the ties that bind the two countries.
While angry voters march in Tehran, Indonesia's leaders and residents offered congratulations to the man who has paid one official visit to this country.
Tentang kemenangan Presiden Ahmadinejad di Iran, dan saya ingin menyampaikan ucapan selamat kepada beliau.
Dan menurut saya dia itu orang yang sangat tegas dalam bertindak atau untuk punya keputusan, dan dia low profile, dan dia punya karisma juga.
Meskipun dia keras, kalau emang efeknya baik buat rakyat, kenapa enggak?
Dan di saat dia memimpin itu enggak membuat rakyat tuh gimana ya, takut atau melakukan peraturan yang dibuat oleh pemerintah itu tuh dengan terpaksa gitu.
The reaction here to Ahmadinejad's apparent victory is a reflection of the cordial ties between the two Muslim-majority countries. The Iranian leader's visit to Indonesia came in mid-May 2006, followed by a return visit by Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono in March 2008. Overall bilateral trade is valued at $1 billion, with a particular focus on the oil and gas sectors. A new joint petrochemical project in Iran and Indonesia will boost the trade total up to $7 billion after completion in 2012. In 2007, Indonesia did take a stand in favor of United Nations Resolution 1747 that imposed a trade embargo on Iran over its nuclear program. But ties between the two countries remain strong.
Di Indonesia itu ada banyak Muslim Syiah itu ya. Bahkan di dalam beberapa ini ada kaum Bahai yang memiliki cabang di Indonesia, dan ada banyak lembaga-lembaga Syiah seperti Al-Jawad, Mutahari dan lain-lain. Hemat saya memang itu memperlihatkan hubungan kedekatan paling tidak antar masyarakat atau civil society dengan civil society Iran.
Analysts say Ahmadinejad's re-election will result in more pressure from countries opposed to the leader's persistence in developing nuclear technology. But the results are having an even more profound effect on a people unaccustomed to open street protests, something Indonesians lived through during Suharto's fall in 1998. Yos Kusuma, Metro TV, Jakarta.
Authorities say that all bodies have now been recovered in a coal mine explosion on Tuesday in West Sumatra that killed 31 people. On Wednesday, rescue teams recovered 12 bodies from the privately owned mine in Sawalunto in that West Sumatra district. All had severe burns. The local government Thursday stopped work at all 13 mines in the area. A government spokesman said the explosion could have been sparked by a short circuit and a buildup of methane gas. The mine produced 1,500 tons of coal a month for local paper and power companies. Now, this amateur video captured the moments immediately after the accident. The explosion destroyed several buildings as well, and motorcycles belonging to the trapped workers. 9 workers survived with injuries.
A corruption court in Jakarta sentenced former Central Bank Deputy Governor Aulia Pohan to 4.5 years in prison. That was for his role in a bank scandal that cost the state more than 100 billion rupiah, or nearly $100 million. The judges found Pohan guilty of misusing government funds between 1999 and 2004. The money went to pay legal expenses and bribe lawmakers to pass a favorable law. Pohan says he will appeal the sentence. He is the father-in-law of President Yudhoyono's son. It was the first face-to-face televised debate between the presidential candidates.
And viewers got a good look at the contrasting styles and priorities of the three people running. Indonesia Now's Andini Effendi monitored the debate, and she joins us now. Andini, it wasn't that exciting, but was there a clear winner?
Well, Dalton and Frida, each can't believe their candidate came out fast. Candidates kept cool, and there was little conflict that was seen in the U.S. presidential debates.
Apa yang akan Ibu kerjakan untuk melindungi warga negara Indonesia yang bekerja di luar negeri?
Memberi suatu pengetahuan yang lebih baik bagi mereka. Karena biasanya yang tidak mengerti hak-hak itulah yang mengalami hal-hal yang sangat menyedihkan ketika mereka mencari pekerjaan di luar negeri.
Menurut saya mata rantai antara di rumah dengan di luar negeri harus kita kerjakan secara serentak. Tetapi memang benar harus beres di dalam negeri dulu seperti sampaikan Ibu Mega tadi. Kemudian kita pastikan setelah di luar negeri pun mereka mendapatkan pelindungan haknya, kemudian bisa berkomunikasi, kedutaannya besar, ulangi kedubesnya lebih aktif untuk mengetahui kalau ada apa-apa dengan tenaga kerja kita.
Kita mempersiapkan kontrak yang baik dengan antar negara tersebut, MOU-nya. Kita harus evaluasi dengan baik. Ketiga, yang juga saya kerjakan dulu sebagai orkestra di bawah Ibu Mega, ialah mewajibkan semua kedutaan, khususnya Malaysia dan Saudi, untuk mempersiapkan lawyer-lawyer, pengacara-pengacara di semua kota-kota penting di Malaysia dan juga di Saudi dan sampai sekarang masih jalan, agar semua hal-hal tersebut kita selesaikan hukumnya di negara tersebut. Jangan nanti pulang baru kita marah-marah, diselesaikan pada waktunya.
The next televised debate is on Tuesday between the vice president candidate. Frida and Dalton, the next meeting of the presidential hopefuls is next Thursday night, which it will be held here in Metro TV.
Okay, and one thing I needed about this one the other night, what happened to the plan they were talking about of having each candidate address each other? Because that would have made it more interesting.
Yeah, because shortly before the debate, the three candidates and the Election Commission agreed to change the regulation. All questions and answers must go through the moderator, which was Anies Baswedan.
All right, thank you.
The Indonesian stock market is up more than 40% this year. The rupiah near 6-month highs. Has Indonesia successfully weathered the global economic crisis? And what impact will the presidential election have on the economy? Fauzi Iksan is chief economist with Standard Chartered Bank in Jakarta. He joins us now from the Indonesia Stock Exchange. Fauzi, thank you for joining us. First, politics. Is the financial and business communities hoping for a second Yudhoyono term?
Well, I mean, investors are quite optimistic on Indonesia because if you look at the economic growth in the first quarter of this year, on a year-to-year basis, Indonesia's economic growth is number 3 in the G20 after China and India. And assuming that the global economy will recover in 2010, therefore the prospects for Indonesia is pretty positive. Basically, investors reckon that the global economic recovery will be led by Asia, and Asia will be led by China, India, and Indonesia.
Okay, so you're saying politics won't have much effect because other things are in place, but what would the market reaction be, say, if one of the other candidates won?
Oh, as far as investors are concerned, as long as the election process is peaceful, transparent, of course they will compare with Thailand, with Malaysia, and the Philippines, for example, and they believe that the election process here is peaceful. And secondly, they don't view there's an ideological divide between the three presidential candidates. If you look at the three candidates, Megawati, SBY, and Yusuf Kala, they all once worked together in a cabinet in which Budiono served as finance minister, and therefore by and large, investors believe that they're all secular, and any of them will not create a sudden and drastic change in policies.
Okay, as I mentioned, the stock market has rebounded nicely from the severe drop in the last quarter of last year. The rupiah has come off the 12,000 level. Is the worst over for Indonesia?
Well, I mean, assuming that the global economic recovery will take place in 2010, then it is over. The worst is over. Now, of course, it depends how much faith you have in Barack Obama's economic policies in the U.S. Now, if you believe that the worst is over in the U.S., then the worst is over globally. However, if you believe that we're not out of the woods yet, that the U.S. economy is going to deteriorate further, and therefore the global equity market will tank further, then it's not. But however, having said that, I don't believe that we're going to come across severe failures in the financial markets as we witnessed in September, October last year.
Okay, Fauzi Iksan, Standard Chartered Bank, thank you very much for those insights. Now, as far as stocks this week, Indonesia followed Wall Street's downturns.
And here's a quick rundown of the market numbers.